What is up, Frog fam? Welcome back to another edition of Marketflow, powered by Thor, presented by Mode. The crypto charts have continued to get bloody, but we're in a good place. If we zoom out, we take a look at things, we're doing well. And if you're not, maybe you should consider using the contracts from AutoThor. The users right now are still experiencing 41% profit. Thor is still well balanced, playing both sides. Are you tapped out, or do you still have capital to buy right now? If you don't, if you tapped yourself out too early, maybe you should tap into Thor and Tap FinTech. Let it start trading for you. We've currently got over 1.8 mil TVL locked. And like I said, users are experiencing 41% profit right now. So if you're not part of that, maybe you want to reconsider where you have your portfolio allocated. Not financial advice. Do your own research, but you'll find out that frauds fuck. Okay, so we're going to jump right into Bitcoin because we actually just tapped into the Thor long call that we talked about last week. Right here, we hit that. And man, does Thor know what it's doing sometimes or what? I mean, this was a very, very narrow entry zone to begin with, and we tapped it perfect. So, what we're looking at from here is, are we going to pump up? Are we going to fill this profit? And is that going to be our resistance? Is it going to be our resistance on the EMAs? And is that lower high going to result in a lower low? Or is this going to be our pump up and opportunity? I'm going to move this downtrend a little bit. Now that we've made the lower low, I'm going to include this downtrend. So we're going to move this up just a little bit like that, right? So it's included in our downtrend. So is this take profit point going to be our resistance of the EMAs and of the downtrend? Or is this going to be the point where maybe we can break out, find support on our last DCA zone that's been very strong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times we've entered this DCA zone that we talked about. Are we going to break out, find support, and go bullish? To be bullish, what we need to see, same as last week when we were here, we started printing candles above the short-term EMA. We started printing candles above the long-term EMA. We started to get above neutral in the RSI, but you remember we said we had to hold it. We needed to have the retest. We needed to hold printing candles above the EMAs. We needed to keep the RSI above. We needed to get out of that downtrend, and we did where it was, right, when it was here, but we fell back into it. So that lower high indicated for us the lower low. Right now, we have that perfect Thor entry. Will we get the lower high? Filling the call, meeting resistance. If we do, we've talked about this zone for a long time. We blew right through this zone, and we never came down to retest here. So, not financial advice. Do your own research, but I'm still looking at what we've been talking about for several weeks now. 56 is a DCA zone, 52 is a DCA zone, and then that real down bottom, but still potential. I mean, anything's possible, even if it's not highly probable. It's possible that we do visit this 46% or 46K. Doing so, that would bring us down 38%. And we have seen 38% retraces pre-halving in the bull run. We're now post-halving, and we didn't see that mega retrace. We're also seeing BlackRock not buying Bitcoin right now several days in a row. Is this where we get the 38% retrace? We don't know. At least we've got Thor and Marketflow to keep us in the know, so we know how to play the game of if then and know what we're going to do next. So this is our bearish scenario, is that we do find resistance here at the take profit point. resistance hit the EMAs, resistance hit the downtrend, and we reach for that lower low. Bullish activity would be breaking back up on the RSI, printing candles above the EMA, finding support on the EMA, and then getting the break and retest on the downtrend. Now, let's go over to Solana, what we're looking at for Solana. If you're looking to take some Thor calls, we have got them for you right now. You can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Thor shorts printed for Solana, and we have 1, 2, and 3 long calls for Sol printed. So looks like we're going to see some action soon from Sol because Thor is identifying a lot of data points and zones. Just like the Bitcoin long that we're in right now, very narrow entry for this call at 117 with a retest right on what was our last high, right? If we break down, we're going to test that for resistance again. Right there near the 125. We have the bigger entry down here at 107. And again, we've seen the lower high reach for the lower low. Just like Bitcoin, we tried to get back above, but we couldn't break out of the downtrend. We couldn't break above the EMA. We fell back in. We fell back under on the RSI. And now we're reaching down for potentially a lower low. Or is this where we find support? Me personally looking, if we hold this zone at 100, this retests one of our longer uptrends. 100, nice round number. We've come down, filled these tops again. This could look to be a really good call potentially for not only this Thor call and this pump with a percent of 18%, take profit on that. But if we get the break and the retest down here, man, I just feel like that could potentially be our big entry for the rest of the bull run if we break down to that. Now, we do have a call that seems pretty bearish all the way down here in the 65, mid-60s. Big Thor call, mid-60s, and then retesting 100. That's a big call there. Is that probable? I'm not sure, but it's definitely fucking possible. So it's a zone that we need to be aware of. Okay, we've talked about the bearish. Let's look at what we could see if we're going to go bullish. So what we could see if we're going to go bullish here is if we hold support somewhere in this area or maybe even fill out this Thor long call, right? What we need to do then is get the break and the retest. And this could happen, way further over here, something like that. But just hypothetical example, you can see how we could get a retest on the EMAs, come back down, test for support on the short-term EMA. Break up, test what was support as a resistance, come back down, test the EMAs in the last top for support. Remember, this is healthy movement, retesting each zone, slow and steady, healthy movement. If we see this slow, steady, healthy movement from Sol, I am even more bullish for the rest of the bull run than I am already. So these are zones to pay attention to. Remember, we've got one here at 150, 168, nearing 170. We've got one up here just before 200, and then we've got the high one up here just early of 230. So, but look how Thor, this could be an indicator to the market. This is obviously interpretation, but to me, Thor is also saying if we break up, it could be slow and steady. If we break down, it could be pretty violent, right? So remember, Thor is not telling you what to buy, or it's not telling you that this is the bottom or this is the top. It's telling you that This is a zone that if we enter the zone, there's a high probability that we retest, take profit. If we enter the zone of 106, 105, high probability that we retest 127 before we break up or continue down. So plan accordingly. If you don't know how to plan accordingly, I'll show you how to do that right now. We're going to go into THOR manual trading. Log in here real quick. First time you log in, you'll need to get an access token. After you have it, you're good to go. But we're going to look at this next call for sold, right? So if we want to take that 117 call that we were just talking about, actually, let's look at this big juicy guy here at the 107 to the 125, just because it's a bigger entrance zone, and that looks, if we get there, that looks like it could be a great call to take. So what you're going to do is you're going to look to that call. You know your entry at 105 to 108. You know your take profit at 127. But how do we manage our risk for this call? We go to risk management. You're going to enter in whatever the number is that you feel comfortable risking on this particular trade in USD. So hypothetical purposes, willing to risk up to $20 on this trade. So you know you're going to buy 1.2 SOL at $105. You know your take profit point, the 127.97. And then you know your stop loss now because you've used the risk management tool. And if you hit that stop loss, you know that you've only lost $20 and you're ready then to make entry on this long call down here at the 68 if you get stopped out at the prior zones. Not financial advice. Do your own research. These are interpretations of THOR and how you can use them to look at things. But you can use the risk management tool on whatever your tolerance is. High or low, whatever your tolerance, whatever you are willing to risk per trade, THOR will show you exactly how much to buy, at what price, you know your take profit, and you know your stop loss. This is how you properly manage risk. What do you think? Does frogs fuck THOR print? You damn right it does. And that's why Kira is going to be so valuable. Kira is, what we know, going to be the tying lifeblood of everything cyber frogs, tap fintech, and THOR. Everything that we have put together in the frogs ecosystem, THOR is going to be the lifeblood of. Do the simple math of 38 million total supply and only 4 million market cap. This is, well, I don't want to say what it is. We're leaving the speculation what it is. Just do the math, right? Do the math, find out what the community thinks, and go from there. You see, we talk about these zones often, and we've come down to that 60%, sitting right where we are right now. Not financial advice. Do your own research. If you haven't got into Kira and you've been thinking about it, maybe this is your sign. Frogs fuck, THOR prints. There's been another edition of, well, okay. We got to hit a couple shit coins before I log out, right? We got to take a look at something. And if I call your favorite token a shit coin, don't take offense. I'm just keeping it real. Even if I call it a shit coin, that doesn't mean I'm not invested in it or have belief in it. We've had a big week from Bonk, so I wanted to bring Bonk up before we sign off. We had our accumulation zone we talked about back here when it was just Trader Tuesdays, when we were only trading Tuesday nights. Now we have Tuesday nights, Thursday mornings with Marketflow. But look what we got in our first accumulation phase. We made good profits. We knew down here in our 60% was an accumulation zone. We actually found support on our last accumulation zone a little deeper. But since then, since the near bottom, Bonk had made over 100 to 125% pump. And even from our DCA zone here at the 60% down, it had made a pump of over 50% and still looks to be making the higher low support. You're going to see a lot of these tokens right now that are really taking a beating, but you're going to see tokens that are strong and have strong narrative start to get the breakout, find support on their 60% zones. Not financial advice. Do your own research. Zoom out. Look at where we are in the market as a whole. I'm going to show you guys this, and then we're going to sign out. But this is what we need to look at as the market as a whole right now. Why can't I pull up my... There we go. We're going to zoom out. Take a look. You know, we gave a lot of bearish scenarios. And if we look at Bitcoin on the 4-hour here, you know, we've had this bearish decline that we've been stuck in, and it's hard to break, and it's kind of depressing, and it looks really red, and it's scary, guys. Zoom out a little bit. Where are we at? That big red downtrend that we're scared of and everyone's panicking about right now is right here. And what has happened each time that we've retested all-time highs and we started topping out on the RSI and the weekly, we go for a run. Testing all-time highs, starting to top out on the RSI on the weekly, we go for a run. What are we doing right now? We are testing the last all-time highs and the RSI starting to top out on the weekly. Not financial advice. Do your own research. Don't get shaken out of your bags. Frogs, fuck, Thor Prince. Join us for the next episode of Marketflow or any of our other streams in Discord. We've got Cyber Dojo on Mondays. We've got Marketflow on Tuesday evenings, Thursday morning Marketflow, decoding the market with Dregs on Thursday evening, and then, of course, our Friday spaces on Twitter at noon on Fridays. Frogs fuck, Thor Prince. Trade smart. Don't get shaken out.